Y'all lucky y'all not feeling like me because right now my head is like going around up and down. That's my medicine because I have to take it at bedtime.
She says medicine. I hear she went to the club. Anybody else hear
I
that?
I don't do no
I went to
I know that. I've been there.
Huh?
I'm sick, I promise.
I don't do drugs.
I'm up and down and spinning around. What? What? So you're not sick? The commercial's about balloons. That guy had a balloon head. He wasn't dancing. Anybody remember that commercial?
Mm-mm.
With that, like, I think it's Sudafed or something. All of a sudden, like, the guy's head turns into a balloon. I remember looking at that and being like, what? Uh-huh. Oh, no. Okay. So we've got a ruler. Now, because these lines are so small and intricate, everyone look at your paper. So I'm looking at the side that has, it's almost to the 3.
Mhm.
We'll call that side 1. I'm looking at the 3. The one that's almost to the 3. You got it. Okay. So this says how many inches. Alright? So we've got our bar. I won't draw out the whole thing. But I've got 3, 2, and 4. Now I know this is kind of small. Does anybody have trouble seeing this? Like literally just looking at it, seeing it? Like you need glasses
Yeah.
kind of thing? Okay. And we know whenever we have issues like that, we just gotta let me know, right?
Okay.
If you're close, I'm not gonna fault you. We know that I know that. It's not a big deal. Now looking at this, do we see how many little lines are in there?
What? Yeah.
There's a lot of little lines in there, right?
Mhm.
I don't particularly care about all those little lines, but we need to understand it. So,
I sure can't see. I can't wrap my eyes.
I'm going to break this out a little bit more. I'm just going to call this 1 and 2. Alright? We're going to call this half. 1 half. What's half of a half? If I said give me a half cup of sugar, 1/4, right? Do we all bake? Or know what I'm talking about when I say baking things? If not, give me some kind of signal. Good.
I bake stuff, but I don't like have to measure because I just.
But if it said put in a half cup of sugar, could you do that?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. If not, and you want to like tell me later or something, it might be too late, but. Okay, so this is my 1 inch, right? I'm just going to throw it out right here. Inch. This is 2 inches. Alright, so we just said half of a half is 1/4. Now what if I split this in half? It's okay if we don't know. You might want to guess? An 1/8. Look what we did with the half, right? So we went from 1/2 to 1/4. Next we're going to go to 1/8. Who wants to take a guess to what the next one might be? 1/16. Does anyone see a pattern?
No. I was just like, well, where's the 6?
It's 6.
I don't get it.
Okay, hold on. Alright, so I started off, let me erase these, with my 1/2, right? Half of 1/2 is 1/4. So if I give you 50 cents, and I should split it in 2, what are you going to give me? 1/4. So there's my 1/4. Okay? If I want to split this in half again, it's an 1/8. Okay? If I do it again, it's 1/16.
So is that the small lines or the,
So the smaller lines right? So if we're looking at this, the big line cuts it in half, right? The next one's a quarter. Notice how the lines in size go down. They line up with the numbers themselves. The next one, right here, is 1/32. Okay? And now when I'm saying half, I'm meaning this section, right? I'm breaking it down and breaking it down and breaking it down. If you don't get this, that is okay. Don't get frustrated. Don't get frustrated. This is not something like I expect you to pull out of thin air. No. That's why we're learning it. Alright, so if I break down just this section a little bit, so I'm going just a 1/2 inch now. So 1, here's my 1/2, here's my quarter, here's my 1/8, my 1/16, my 32nd. What these mean, okay, if I had one that was just in quarters, so here's my 1, here's my 1/2, here's my quarter, okay? 1/2 and 1/4, I literally would add up what I have here. So 2/4. So 1, right, 1/4 and 1/4. So I have 1 plus 1 equals 2, right? This number right here is called a denominator. We are not learning fractions in this class. The only fractions at all that you will see in here is the measuring right now. Okay? So don't think that we're learning fractions. Okay? We are just doing measurements. That's it. We won't be multiplying or doing anything like that. We're going to be adding just little lines. Okay? These little lines' values are not going to change. They're not, I promise you. But you have to recognize that it goes from like the big line down to the next line, down to the next one. And if you'll notice, if you look at all these measuring on the measuring sticks, right? Do they change?
Yes.
The actual measuring stick?
No.
The line above it does, right?
Yeah.
So once we know that every single one looks the same, once we learn that first one, we don't have to learn anything else. Okay? Because this is what we're doing in this class. Measuring. Okay? Don't let this upset you. Don't. I promise. This is
what I'm getting at, like right here, when you were saying the lines. I'm talking about like, from the boy you going to the one. You talking about these lines right here?
Yes.
Not these.
That all of them. All right. So that's the next step. So here's my 1/4 and 1/2, right? Here's my 1/8. So if I just take this right here, I already said that this is 1/4 and this is 1/4, right? So if this is 1/4, and I know this is the same thing, it's just adding it, that's all we're doing is adding things. That's all. Then I can go, well, this is this much, and this is this much. Wait a minute. That's an 82. But if I start at 1, so now I've got my 1, right? Because basically you're starting from 0, but I'm starting from the 1 inch mark. So every time you see that 1 inch mark, or that inch mark, you're starting from 0 again. So if I say I'm 5 foot, 5.5 inches, right? The way you would see that is like this. And I know class is almost over, and we're going to work on this tomorrow, so don't freak out. Okay? So I'm going to call this 5 feet. Okay? And I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 6 feet. I'll even mark this out. Feet. Alright, so I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, I need 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How tall is? What are you doing?
5 feet 5 inches.
5 foot 5.5, right? So I know I need this mark. So there's my 5 feet. I'm 5 inches and a half, right? So here's 6, but I'm not all the way there. So I'm like right here. This is read as 5 feet. That little mark right there means feet. Or I could write it out. 5.5 or 5 feet, 5 1/2 inches. Okay? So just let your brain go with that. All right? And this one right here. So if I've got all these and I just add them up, right? So now I've got 1, 2, 3 eighths. Because I could take this out and go 2 eighths.
Can you do the first one?
The first one? Okay, so looking at that first one is 3 1/32.
3?
3 1/32. Okay, so it's this little one right here. So if I went to, huh? You write that as 3 1/32 inches. Now measurement is not the easiest thing in the world to get. We will figure it out. Okay?
So the next little inch over from that would be 1/16.
The next little mark over, yes, would be 1/16. So if it goes to the next one, I can round it up. I could technically count every single dash as a 32nd. So looking at your paper, if I had all these little dashes, okay, because it keeps going, and let me just make sure. Yeah. So see, there's all those tiny little dashes. Those tiny little dashes should all add up to whatever's on the bottom. Okay, so here's 1 32nd, 2 32nd, 3 32nd, and so on. You literally just add it up. Okay, so we'll cut it off there. Do not be upset if you didn't get it. Thank you. Anything that you have completed, turn in to me, please. You can if you want. You can if you want. That big one right there, that would be 3 1/2. 3 1/2.
You said I did look.
What?
Oh, yeah, just.
Right there.
No,
We're gonna have work.
Just
That's okay. But I want you to do all of it.
Do your other job.
All of it.
The other person you did for everything, what if you-
Love you a long time. Don't be mad at me because we had to learn measurements.
Oh.
You said you're gonna give it a break, then everybody will.
Hmm?
Then I said,
The last
what
time.
if you do it?
Thank you. Tomorrow, again, expect to be working on the stuff that I can see that you either are not getting or need to practice.
I don't think I'm gonna make it today. It's my medicine, see, they switched me to night. I can take them at night, and that's, I almost not woke up this morning. And one from my neighbor's dog, scratching at my door.
I was just at a friend's house the other day, and their neighbor had a rooster. Hey, India? She's out today, she's sick. Oh, wow. Hello?